Well, thank you so much for staying with us. This is Eye on the Arts on CFAX 1070. I'm Adam Sawatsky from CTV News, and the race is now officially on. After so much buzz, so much conversation about the best of movies, we now know who is nominated for an Oscar. And joining us to talk about those nominations, the snubs, who should win, who's certainly not going to win because they didn't get a chance, is Jason White from eFilmCritic.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Jason White, Whyte. Hello to you, sir. Welcome back.
Hello. Good to be back. This is awesome. Thank you for having me.
January is film month.
I know. I've been here. I was just on CFAX doing an interview yesterday,
with also, Al Farabee.
Yeah, with Al, and then we're here again.
Well,
this is great.
You know a lot about film. You're one of the experts, one of the big experts in town, which is why we keep asking you back. What do you think? I mean, the big headline, American Hustle, 10 nominations, Gravity, 10 nominations, and just that much behind 12 Years a Slave with 9.
It's I was not surprised by a lot of the Best Picture nominations, but you mentioned the 3 movies that I feel are going to be duking it out in more ways than one. There's a lot of competition between the 3 movies. They both did very well at the Golden Globes recently. And there's going to be a stiff competition, I think, between Gravity and 12 Years a Slave, I think, for the Best Picture.
I've been reading a lot about American Hustle, and I don't get this, and I don't know if you have any insight. A lot of people in the industry are a bit dismissive about all the attention that American Hustle is getting. They're saying that it's not worthy of all this attention, and that it's just a Martin Scorsese knockoff, and something like the Wolf of Wall Street deserves more acclaim.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love The Wolf of Wall Street a lot more than American Hustle, although American Hustle is kind of an interesting movie in my opinion. I remember when I first saw the movie, I wasn't terribly impressed, but I did get to go see it again. And actually, I did pick up a lot more fun details and actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit more.
Appreciated more second viewing.
I did appreciate a lot of the things that went into the movie.
And that's a sign of a good movie, right?
It is. And you know what? I'm going to just go right ahead and say it. I think it's a good movie. On repeat viewing, I sort of picked up a few more interesting tidbits from the movie. So I'm glad for all of its nominations, and I was impressed by a lot of the people that are nominated, like Amy Adams and Jennifer Lawrence, once again, who won an Oscar last year. So she's going to be coming back.
So the nominations for Best Picture: American Hustle, Gravity, 12 Years a Slave, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, Her, Nebraska, The Wolf of Wall Street, and Philomena. What do you think of that list? They could have done 10, right? And they've only chosen 9.
And 4 of those movies made my top 10 list.
Of 2013.
Of 2013, that's right, with The Wolf of Wall Street being the number 1 movie in my opinion, last year, and that's one of the Best Picture nominees. Yeah.
So I'm looking at some of the films that aren't there, and again, there was a slot. They could have added 1 more. The Coen brothers' latest, Inside Llewyn Davis, is not there. Lee Daniels' The Butler is not there. Fruitvale Station is not there. Some are saying that the Mandela pick should have been there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a lot of good picks there. Fruitvale Station was one that I loved as well. Another top 10 pick. Also, Michael B. Jordan, the lead actor in the movie, was also not nominated in the Best Actor category, which when we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, we were thinking, maybe it was just like Golden Globe snub, but now it's gone even further. But the movie still did very well at Sundance, and it's now out on Blu-ray and DVD, so people should check it out regardless.
How does this work? Why are there these notable snubs, and why do the films that do get nominations, how do they get them?
Well, there's so many movies every year. That's what a lot of people sort of don't realize is there's so many movies that come out every year. There's hundreds of movies. Film festivals put out tons of stuff all year long that get, like, from Sundance and South by Southwest, and that all comes out. Then there's all the movies that come out towards the end of the year, too. You can only nominate 5 or 9 in the Best Picture category. Right. So there's only so much room. So the way I sort of look at it, I like to see what is there instead of what isn't, because that's more fun to me. Like, there's some nominations I personally disagree with, but it's kind of more fun to just say, you know what, let's go fight for what's the one we like the best out of the category, and let's follow that one.
All right, let's go with that then. Let's go with that. And of those Best Picture nominees, who do you think personally, what film do you think should win, and what do you think will probably end up winning?
Well, I did mention Wolf of Wall Street previously, and that is obviously one of my favorite movies, and that would be my personal favorite. But one that I would love to see win Best Picture, I'd be very happy, would be Gravity, which is also one of my favorites of last year too. I got to see it again recently, and it was great to see the whole big screen experience. It has a lot to say, and I'm hoping it picks up a lot of the big awards. And it also just opened recently again at the Odeon, so it's playing locally again. So if anyone missed it, they can definitely go check it out.
And there are a lot of movies that you can see, even if you have a small screen at home, it's fine to watch it on DVD or Blu-ray. Gravity is one of those films that you need to see on the big screen.
Absolutely.
And you probably should have seen it in 3D on an IMAX screen, but if you didn't, at least go, like you said, to the Odeon. And what I'm hearing is that this has potential to do big, may not win Best Picture. The industry is so excited that this is a movie that does get people into theaters. It's made to be seen on the big screen and not just at home.
Well, it was kind of like with Avatar. It's just for the... Like, it's a type of movie you'd have to go out and see. And I was very happy to sort of discover when Gravity came out back last fall or October, right? Mm-hmm. It was sort of like that movie of the moment. That's like people who didn't normally go to movies went to see Gravity, just like they did with Avatar, just for that big screen experience.
And in the end, Hollywood is all about big business, and they certainly appreciate it when bums find their way into movie theater seats. Let's look at Best Actor. We have, from American Hustle, Christian Bale. From Dallas Buyers Club, Matthew McConaughey. From The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio. From Nebraska, Bruce Dern. And from 12 Years a Slave, and just because you can say it so much better than I, Jason White.
I'm honored to say the name Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I love it.
I love it too. It's such a great performance in that movie too, and a great category as well. Again, there were so many great performances this year. But anyone who knows me or anyone who has interviewed me recently, both yourself and Al on CFAX, well, no surprise that Matthew McConaughey is my top pick by a mile. It's one of my all-time favorite performances in the movies, but also Leonardo DiCaprio is so stellar in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Is that the fight between those two?
I think it is, yes. I think that the two of them are going to be, it's going to go one way or the other, sort of like that whole Sean Penn, Mickey Rourke thing from a few years ago. Like, all the industry insiders are going, oh, it's going to go one way or it's going to go another. And
of course, then weird things happen where, 45% of the people vote for Leo, 45% vote for Matthew McConaughey, and then somebody goes up the middle or something.
Well,
my math is wrong there, but you know what I mean.
Well,
they split the vote.
If it comes to that and they have to come to me going, well, who would you pick? I'm going to have to go with McConaughey, just for everything he did in the movie, not just with the weight loss. For his character, he played a character diagnosed with AIDS, and he was just such a great performance that I can't stop talking.
He won a Golden Globe for that performance,
yes.
And just this week he won the Film Critics or the Critics' Choice
Award, yes,
for that performance as well. We are having a conversation with Jason White. He is from efilmcritic.com. You can follow everything that he does with movies by visiting him on Twitter at Jason White. That's WHYTE. We are talking about this week's Oscar nominations. The big show will be broadcast March 2nd on CTV. Ellen DeGeneres is back as host. Do you care about the host?
Ellen is a great host, actually. Yeah, I've enjoyed her previous shows. I'd love to see Steve Martin come back.
Steve Martin's coming to town.
Yeah.
So you can see him then.
We can talk him into doing it for 2015, right. Maybe.
You have some pull. Jason.
A little bit. We'll see what we can do.
Why don't we get to Best Actress before we take a break? Sure. Nominees: Amy Adams from American Hustle, Cate Blanchett from Blue Jasmine, Sandra Bullock from Gravity, Judi Dench, Philomena, Meryl Streep, August Osage County. Meryl Streep's 18th performance nomination. That's a record.
It is, but I don't think she'll win this year. It just seems like her performance in the movie was very notable and everything. But again, I'm sort of looking at what happened at the Golden Globes. We had Amy Adams win for Best Actress in a Comedy, and then we also had Cate Blanchett win. But Cate Blanchett's performance has been so loved and honored throughout the year that sort of my guess is going towards Cate Blanchett, but it's also Amy Adams' first Best Actress nominee. She's been nominated several times before, but in the supporting category. So I'm thinking that the two of them might have a little bit of duking it out, but it might
Does
Sorry,
Sandra
I'm thinking about it.
does Sandra Bullock in Gravity have a chance?
You know what? She's so fantastic in the movie too, and another one of the best things about Gravity, not just with the visual effects and the big screen experience, is she gives one of the strongest performances of 2013.
And the thing that's always interesting about the Oscars to me is that these are nominated by these people's peers. These are people that know what it takes to be able to get the performance that we all see on the screen. And what strikes me about Sandra Bullock's performance, she was stuck up in the air. If you've seen any behind-the-scenes footage of Gravity, she puts on this stellar performance when she's just surrounded by a bunch of crew people. No other actor. Well, I mean, there are some scenes where she's acting off, against somebody else. But really, it's her by herself having to imagine that all this stuff is going around here. Technically, it's an amazing performance.
Absolutely, I do not argue with that at all. Definitely one of the best I've seen this year. I'm just sort of looking at all of the other awards, you sort of have to look at from a technical perspective almost, and how the nominees are tracking with other award shows, and that's sort of what I watch. So, and also from what I see too, I mean, you mentioned everything about Sandra Bullock, but also Cate Blanchett, just completely fearless performance, and one of Woody Allen's best movies in years as well is Blue Jasmine. Her character is just absolutely fearless. Complex, but everything she does in that movie is flawless.
We're having a conversation about the Oscar nominations. They will be broadcast March 2nd on CTV. Our guest from efilmcritic.com, Jason White. You can follow him on Twitter at Jason White. That's White with a Y. More movie talk when we return. Who was nominated for Best Director, who didn't get nominated for Best Director, and other notable snubs when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back to Eye on the Arts on CFAX 1070. I'm Adam Sawatsky from CTV News. Thank you so much for staying with us. And 'tis the season for film awards. The Oscar nominations were announced this week, and we are talking who are the contenders, who got snubs, with Jason White from efilmcritic.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Jason White, WHYTE. We talked about Best Picture. We talked about Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director. And this seems so weird to me, just structurally, as far as the show. Recently, they've gone from 5 Best Picture nominees to a possible 10 Best Picture nominees, but then they haven't opened up the rest of the categories. So we have 9 Best Picture nominations here, but only 5 directors.
Exactly.
Which makes for some really notable snubs.
Yeah.
Captain Phillips up for Best Picture, but Paul Greengrass, not nominated. Dallas Buyers Club up for Best Picture. Jean-Marc Vallée, not nominated.
Such a great filmmaker, too. I've loved all of his movies.
Have you?
Yeah. He did one called Crazy, which I saw almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like this cool little French-Canadian filmmaker. It was just really cool to see that he established himself so well with Dallas Buyers Club.
Spike Jonze from Her.
Such a good movie.
Her's up for Best Picture. He didn't get nominated.
No.
And same goes for Stephen Frears for Philomena.
Yeah.
Did they leave the right people out? We should probably say who's actually nominated.
We should.
Steve McQueen, 12 Years a Slave. Alfonso Cuarón from Gravity. David O. Russell from American Hustle. Alexander Payne, Nebraska, and your pal Marty.
Oh,
Scorsese from
Marty.
From the Wolf.
And no Woody
of Wall Street.
No Woody as well.
You know what? I should add that to my snub. You're right. No Woody from.
No Woody. Where's Woody?
Woody did get a writing nomination.
Of course,
his 16th for Blue Jasmine.
That's amazing.
Are they recognizing the right people?
Sure. I mean, what I'm thinking is Alfonso Cuarón in a category where Gravity has 10 nominations, the best director, it's definitely going to go to him. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to win the Oscar this year. And again, we can only fit 5 nominees. So which 5 nominees does the Academy feel best represents 2013 at the movies?
And again, we're so lucky. 2013 has been a fantastic year for film.
Wonderful year.
Did you know that? I mean, one of the great things about what you do, Jason, is you get to see a lot of these movies before the rest of us do, because you're traveling around North America to see the actual film festivals. When you were watching those movies, before they even started generating buzz, were you realizing that this was a good year?
I was realizing that it was a great year when I was at South by Southwest this last March, actually. I was watching 4 or 5 movies a day, and I was just saying that some of these are definitely going to be on my top 10 of the year list, and 2 of them were Mud and You're Next. I think there was another one in there too. I don't have my list in front of me
No.
with my top 10, but it doesn't matter.
It's interesting you mentioned Mud. I mean,
Yeah.
what a year for Matthew McConaughey.
A wonderful year for Matthew. I mean, I'm so proud of him after having these two movies and also a small part Wolf of Wall Street that I thought he was sensational in as well. His performance in Dallas Buyers Club, again, it better win. It is like I'm cheerleading for that performance, kind of like what Roger Ebert did, the late great Roger Ebert did with Charlize Theron. He pretty much got her an Oscar win for how much praising he was doing of the movie.
And you're praising, we'll just talk about McConaughey for a second. You're praising, he's getting all this attention for the 45 pounds that he lost, the weight loss.
Yeah.
You're saying that his performance goes
It
way
goes-
beyond that stunt.
It goes so far beyond. It's something in his character, it's something in how he relates and how he adapts to the problem that he has. Like, he's diagnosed with AIDS, and everything that's happening in the movie, you can see his character building, but he's also, it's kind of like this mover and shaker. So you get to see a little bit of like how he learns and adapts in his own way. And just watching him on screen was just such an amazing experience. And I've liked a lot of his movies, but this was the first performance I'm just going, this guy is a movie star. This guy is a hero, and he's a fantastic actor. And again, it's one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Some of the other notable acting snubs: Tom Hanks and Captain Phillips, Robert Redford, All Is Lost. Robert Redford, I'm surprised I didn't know this, but I didn't. He's never received attention. He's never won an Oscar.
That's interesting,
I just
too.
assumed. I just assumed he had. He hasn't. Oprah Winfrey and The Butler didn't get nominated, and neither did Emma Thompson in Saving Mr. Banks.
All great performances. Oh, well, like, with the exception of Robert Redford, believe it or not, that's actually one movie I still haven't seen yet, is All Is Lost. There still are a few stragglers that I haven't been able to see for one reason or another.
You know what? You see what? You see hundreds.
I would
of-
say probably last year was about 300 movies,
Well, there we
and
go.
that was one that I unfortunately missed.
It's okay that some get lost through the cracks.
And you mentioned Tom Hanks earlier, and one thing I wanted to mention was he was excellent in Captain Phillips. I loved him in Saving Mr. Banks as well. He played Walt Disney just flawlessly. It was so good, such a fun, interesting performance. And it's just great to see the way that they depicted him on screen.
I was actually just before this was talking to Hudson Mack from CTV News, and he just saw Saving Mr. Banks last night, and again he was praising both Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson for those performances. I mentioned The Butler as well, and Oprah didn't get a nomination. It seemed like Lee Daniels' The Butler, leading up to this, everyone was talking about this is an independent film. It's going to get all this Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of attention here. Was that just marketing?
It's interesting.
Were they trying to sell it as that, and in the end, it didn't live up to expectations?
But The Butler has had a really interesting road since it was released last August. I saw the movie pretty quickly when it came out. I'm a fan of the movie. I really love The Butler. I think it has a lot of strong elements in it, and Oprah Winfrey's performance I thought was excellent in the movie. But a lot of people don't like it for some reason. I think it's just sort of painting like the culture, like the racism topics a little too broadly, perhaps. But I thought they handled it very well, and I really liked the movie.
I don't mean to be insensitive when I say this, and perhaps I'm comparing apples and oranges here. Would Hollywood or would the Academy have thought, you know what? There's a way better film than The Butler that deals with racism, and that's 12 Years a Slave.
Yes.
We're going to acknowledge that.
That's possible, but I did like 12 Years a Slave a lot better. Another movie
It's a
that
better
just
film.
about made my top 10 list. It sort of deals with a different era, though, than The Butler does, but everything in that movie is absolutely harsh and inflicting. And one of the supporting actresses in the movie, Lupita Nyong'o, I think her name is pronounced, another stellar performance in a year, and I hope she gets recognized in either through the Oscars or any way she can. She was just a great piece of work.
You're also a fan of June Squibb.
Yes,
In Nebraska.
absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that.
You know what?
She's so good.
I wish this was TV for a second, because as soon as I mentioned your names, I mean, you took this deep breath and a smile came on your face. You love 84-year-old June Squibb.
Oh,
in this
my
film.
goodness. I would leap and applaud and scream if she won. It is one of the best. Like, we were talking about McConaughey. This is also one of my favorite, probably my all-time favorite performances. Playing just this aged wife who's just dealing with her crazy husband. It just reminded me of so many things in my own family, like so many people in my family, that I was just grinning from ear to ear. And again, there's one sequence in the movie where she just tells off Another friend of the family's that was just one of the best moments I've ever had in the movies. Just a wonderful performance. If she won, I'd be over the moon. Yeah.
One of the other disappointments for you with the nominations is Blue is the Warmest Color.
Yes, that was one that didn't even get nominated for Best Foreign Language Film.
It won the top award at Cannes.
Yes, the Palme d'Or, and everyone was sort of leading towards it was going to get the Best Foreign Language Film or Best Picture nomination. In fact, I wish they would have just thrown that in there as number 10. That would have been awesome. It's also one of my favorite movies of last year. Just a strong, powerful film. The big 3-hour epic love story. Like, you don't really see a movie like this come around very often. But it is playing at Cinecenta, actually, at the end of the month. I believe the last week of January. So it's still going to be available for people to see, and it's just a great movie, nomination or no nomination.
Very quickly, we should acknowledge the Canadians who scored recognition in film editing, original score, sound mixing, visual effects as well. So yay for Canada as far as that's concerned. I just want to pick up something, Jason, that you mentioned earlier, and that was Roger Ebert. You are a film critic. This is what you do. You go see a bunch of movies and you let us know what you think so that we have an opportunity to figure out how we want to spend our entertainment budget.
Yeah.
What role do you think you have, though? Obviously you have a passion and love for film. But is there something greater, you think, in what you do besides just offering your opinion and letting us know whether we should see something or not? What role does a film critic play in contemporary culture and in this industry?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm just sort of thinking about a great way to answer that. I'm just kind of blown away by that. But I'm passionate. I love movies. I love sharing my love with others. So it's very important to me to sort of share with people, like either by Twitter, like doing it online, or chatting with someone if I'm hanging out with them at a movie theater or visiting a film festival. It's very important to me to just kind of share my passion and I love other people who love movies,
but you're also
just as much as I do.
But you're also a champion. You do more than just talk about your love for films. You also will host films coming in here, small films into the Capitol that people may not have a chance to see.
In fact, I'm glad you brought that up. I just did one with Jonathan Holoff. An IMO-based filmmaker did a movie about his dad was Johnny Cash's manager. Yeah, we just hosted a screening of that recently, and that went really well too. And I love hosting screenings and bringing movies to Victoria. I've done that a couple as well. With one was called Hit and Strum, a Vancouver-based movie, and then another one was called In the Family, which is my friend Patrick Wang's movie. He brought that to Victoria too.
Well, you can find out about everything that Jason White does by following him on Twitter at Jason White, WHYTE. You can read his reviews at efilmcritic.com as well. We've run out of time, but thank you, sir.
Thank you.
A pleasure as always.
Great
Hopefully
to be here.
We'll have you back to get your suggestions on what we can experience at the Victoria Film Festival as well.
I'd love to. Anytime.
Jason White is our guest. This is Eye on the Arts on CFAX 1070. I'm Adam Sawatsky from CTV News. More local arts coverage when we return.